My name's Steve and welcome to the Seaside Allotment channel. And it doesn't need much work now on the allotment, but still nice to pop down for a couple of hours each day and just potter around a little bit and just keep things ticking over. So I'll just show you what we've been up to. So most of the things we've been doing are just preparing now for spring. All the winter planting was done quite a long time ago. So we popped in some spinach. That's the last lot of spinach that we've got. We've got another lot in here. We took the asparagus down and gave it a good mulch. There's a couple of 2 or 3 inches, I think, of manure on there. Took the last mature crop of beetroot out and popped in some salads. Again, they won't be mature until spring, a mix of bijou and winter gem. And there's some lovely Grenoble red in there. What else have we done? Pop some, these are the last of the spring onions that are in here. So again, these won't be ready until spring. Some nice chard in there as well. And we've got lots of beds of spring onions that will be ready this year, and that's one example there. And I popped in these Romanesco. They were grown in the dodgy batch of compost, and so they were sort of on hold for a month, so they're way behind where they should be. But anyway, pop them in, see how they're going to get on. A few more spring onions there. And oh yes, here we go. Popped in some strawberries down here. These are perpetuals, and then down the centre there's garlic and shallots. So there's 3 rows, 2 rows of garlic and 1 row of shallots, and they're not up yet. And I also just made this little hoop tunnel, and that will protect the chard, the main bed of chard over winter. Chard does pretty well up until about December time for us, and then it starts to die back, so under that little bit of polythene it will be just fine. Let's go look in the polytunnel. So I've just popped in my first tub of early peas, got a few more tubs to plant up of those. I'll just show you the packet of those actually, see what they are. Fumbling around in my pockets trying to find them, and here they go. So these are some French name, du Provence, something like that. Anyway, they should overwinter fine in the polytunnel. Celery is still doing beautifully. Overwintering carrots, not doing very much, but at this, carrots are always like that. They're always putting on root growth before they decide to do anything with the tops. Cleared the last carrot bed in here because we've just got so many carrots. Don't need to have any more in here, and actually got a really nice harvest off those, so I'm really pleased. And I popped in again just some spare lettuces there just to fill out that bed, so that bed's all full. A little bit of chard in there, a little bit of garlic in there, lots of different types of lettuces, and they're all doing very nicely. Everything's doing better in here than it is outside in the coal frames. These little spring onions are doing pretty nicely as well in here, so we've got a really good succession of spring onions going. I think we've got about 6 beds with spring onions all at different stages. My little brassica bed, I'm very pleased with that. It's all coming on beautifully now. And it's nice to have some brassicas with very little whitefly because everything outside is covered with whitefly. And then, yeah, this bed, nothing's really happened, everything's just growing on nicely, and very pleased with that. My overwintering brassicas are up here. These are all looking great. They're about ready to be transplanted into bigger pots in a week or 2's time, and then they'll stay in pots about that sort of size until probably March time, and then they'll get planted out in various successions. So some will go in the polytunnel, some will go in coal frames with the lids on, and then eventually some will go outside. And these are all salads that were all the gap fillers basically as beds open up. and we've got about 3 beds probably left still to plant when their harvests finish, which is soon, you know, in the next 2 or 3 weeks. And then I've got some winter gems to go in there. I've got a few orientals here. I've got some Navara, which is a lovely lettuce, and some more red. So those are all going to be ready for spring. And I'll be quite pleased to get those in the ground actually, because I don't want to leave them more than another few weeks. So I'll just quickly show you what's going on Jen's and Debbie's plot. So we're on Debbie's plot now, and everything's been cleared nicely. Still a really nice selection of brassicas on here. Some of them have been with us since the spring, like these crazy red kale trees, but we're keeping them because these little top leaves are lovely. Herb beds are doing well. There's the what's left of the asparagus. Deb's chopped it up and used it to mulch the orchard. New herb bed there. Celery, that's the last of the outside celery that we've got. Everything else is inside. It's doing very well. More brassicas. These are Chartwell, I think. No, oh, forget it. I can never remember these names. Anyway, I'll put it in as an overlay. Really nice spring, late spring, this one. Broccoli. And that is pretty much it. Not much happening on Debbie's plot now. It's just all been closed up, ready. Oh, elephant garlic down here, and garlic as well. It's all coming up around the strawberry bed. And that is pretty much it. Just walking to Jenny's plot. We've had some really strong winds the last few days. Lost a few fences and various bits and pieces, but everything on our plot survived. Debbie and Jenny just cut down the autumn fruiting raspberries. I need to do that on my plot as well. Brassicas are still looking fantastic, and yeah, we're eating all these. And then we put in these 2 new strawberry and garlic beds. So the strawberries down the outside, and garlics down the centre. And then there's another batch of strawberries here. These have only just gone in, so they're looking a bit worse for wear. And they're earlies and lates. Earlies where my foot is, and lates near the fence. And then there's elephant garlic in this bed. And then there's some more strawberries around the outside. These are mid-season, and actually those over there are mid-season as well. Garlic down the edges, and basically brassica beds, not much happening there. Onions and garlic in here. These are all coming up. It's all looking pretty good. And we just put in, actually Jenny and John and a little boy Robin put in these beds of broad beans. Robin did all the planting. Pop a photo in of that. And Jenny made the holes. John supervised. And yeah, the field beans coming on nicely. And this is going to be the brassica bed for next year, from there down to here. And so field beans will be pumping some nitrogen into that ground. Not many apples left now, just the Golden Delicious, and we'll be picking these soon. It's November, generally pick Golden Delicious in November, and they are improving with every week that they're left on the tree, so pretty pleased with those. And just got a few more Braben apples around here. No sign of those coming off the tree yet, so yeah, they're looking really nice. Pop back to my plot, realised that I didn't show you the little greenhouse. Not exactly what I want to see at this time of year in the little greenhouse. Nothing, just a few straggly bits of brassicas for overwintering. We don't really need those, they're just there as spares. A few plants that are never going to get planted. Yep. And 4 pots of Christmas potatoes, killed by the frost those, so they're just, potatoes are lovely inside those, inside the compost, and we've harvested a couple of them, and we'll be leaving these until later on in the year when we need some new potatoes. So there they are, just piled up there. So we've got quite a decent harvest of new potatoes. We've just cut back on our deliveries to our friends. Basically we're sticking to only about half the people now, mostly family now, because you can't quite sustain the rate of harvests that we've been doing. We were harvesting about £1,000 a month worth of veg, and we're down. This month we're down to, last month rather, we were down to about £500 a month, and I'm guessing really that from November onwards we'll be lucky if we get £250 a month worth of veg. So no point putting pressure on us or pressure on the beds or providing substandard veg to people. So you know, we only want to give people top quality stuff, and it's a hobby, it's not a job. So no point putting us under any pressure. Not much fun harvesting in bad weather. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Nice quick tour. I'll see you soon.